Hello, class. We are going to be looking at expressions and equations, specifically a graphing equations review. And by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to solve and graph linear equations, not exactly in the way that I guess would be typical of being able to graph any sort of equation, but being able to plug in some numbers in situational type graphing and being able to create linear equations and lines based off of that. So let's take a look. I will purchase a set of water bottles from one of two different stores for the football team. This is just an example to base our math on. Target has them on sale for $2 each. Sam's Club, which has a membership fee, but has them on sale for $1 each with a membership of $5. So write an equation for each price. The equations would look like this. For Target, we're looking at the cost, or I'm sorry, the cost would be $2 times the number of bottles that we buy. Sam's Club will be the cost equals $1 per bottle, but then a membership fee of $5 that you have to pay up front. Now, it's membership fee is a lot more than that. It's about $40. But for our purposes, just to fit it on the coordinate grid that we had, I wanted to change it around a bit. So, looking at those equations, that's how we pulled the information from here down into our equations. Our next step, we're going to solve each equation for 2 and 4 bottles. This is a kind of situational type of thing that you want to be able to do. You want to be able to input certain data into there to be able to solve these equations. Now, this is what we've been doing for the past few days, being able to solve 1- and 2-step equations. So for our target, it was, again, C equals $2 times the bottle. I'll erase that, make it look a little bit better. $2 times the bottle. So for 2 bottles, that's going to be replacing that right here with 2 bottles. So the cost is going to be $4. And also for 4 bottles, cost is then going to be $8. So for 2 and 4 bottles, we're going to end up with $4 and $8. Now, for Sam's Club, it's going to be a little bit different. Remember that Sam's Club, the equation was C equals $1 times the number of bottles plus that $5. Let's figure out each one of these for 2 bottles. First order of operations, we handle 1 times 2, which is 2, plus that 5. Altogether, from Sam's Club, we're going to be paying $7. And then, for 4 bottles, let's erase where our variable was. For 4 bottles, let's handle this first. 1 times 4, 4, plus 5, so that's going to come out to be $9. So, Target, we pay for 2 bottles, we pay $4. 4 bottles, we pay $8. Sam's Club, different story. For 2, we pay $7. For 4 bottles, we pay $9. Now, we're going to take that information. And we're going to now put it onto a graph. So we're going to graph each equation, but we're going to graph it with the information that we took. So for Target, we're going to be looking at this. Target was for 2 bottles, it was $4. For 4 bottles, it was $8. Let's put points on this graph. It's a little bit blurry, but hopefully you'll be able to see it. We'll have 2 bottles be our x-axis, bottles down here, and dollars be our y-axis. For 2 bottles, it costs $4. For 4 bottles, it costs $8. So, being able to connect that with a line, this is what it would look like. And we know everything is going to fall on that line. If we would want to look up for 3 bottles or 6 bottles, anything like that, we'd be able to find it on that line. Now, for Sam's Club, let's graph this. For 2 bottles, it was $7. And for 4 bottles, it was $9. All right. Now, the one thing that we're going to be able to use then, after we figure this out, is we're going to be able to use this information, especially this information right here, is where do they meet up? Where is that point of intersection? And we talked a little bit about that in variables and patterns, but now we're getting into it with moving straight ahead, where we're able to use the information that we find on a graph, that we find in the equations, and we're able to solve some really proficient word problems and real life situations that with this type of math. Also, we're going to be learning a little bit more about these points right here. We will call this the y-intercept, and we're going to find out after this a much more mathematic approach to it, even better than just inserting some of that information. Rather, we're going to be able to just get an equation that we found back with 2 c equals 2b and c equals 1b plus 5. We're going to actually be able to graph that without putting in any data. But that's where we're going. That's not where we are right now. All we have to be able to do, come up with a graph, come up with an equation, insert some data, pieces of data like 2 and 4 bottles into there, and come up with some answers for the cost, and then be able to graph that on this coordinate grid. So apply that to number 7 in your math book, and come back with any questions that you might have. Have a great night, everybody.